Can you be a successful artist without actually performing? When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was perform. Performing was my escapism. I literally lived on stage as much as I could. If there was an opening of an envelope, I'd want to play it. That was just what I loved to do. Dreams of touring the world, and I've pretty much lived on stage as much as I could ever since. It's always been the perfect way to build a fan base. But what if performing just isn't realistic? Whether that's family ties or a full-time job, or maybe you're a producer more than a performer. Or what if the thought of performing is physically terrifying? Well, now that the internet here, we know that the best time to build an audience is now. But can you really be a famous artist without taking to the stage and performing live? Glossophobia is the fear of public speaking, stage fright. 3 out of 4 people, 75% of the population, suffer with some form of glossophobia, where the reality of getting on stage and performing or public speaking is far too terrifying to comprehend. There are so many aspects to being a great artist. Having the talent, having something to say, having a great story, having a great song. But performing has always been something that people can relate to. Make no bones about it. Performing is huge, and the lack of performing is going to be a massive loss. But is it key? And while there are plenty of opportunities for producers and songwriters and syncs, what if you want to be the artist? What happens if you want to fight your own fight? So firstly, you need to decide what you do feel comfortable with. Do you feel comfortable performing on camera, or is that too much of an ordeal? Are you comfortable miming semi-live tracks? Where is the line for you so you can start to fit that level of performance into your digital marketing instead of taking to the stage live? Performing is huge. Let's not ignore that. Don't just think that this doesn't make a difference, because this does make a difference. So we need to come up with a plan. With social media and today's consumption, you have to be seen as an artist. You have to be visible. You have to get eyeballs on you. And if you are taking away performance, what you are doing is you are losing a huge weapon, not only from people seeing you perform live, but also in social media and marketing, to be able to add that into your arsenal of posting content regularly on different platforms. So what are you going to replace it with? Vlogs, animations, pictures, blogs. These are all fantastic, but are they going to replace that power of you performing live on stage or even down the camera? There's definitely been a shift in artists over the last 10 to 15 years as technology has changed. Musicians used to have to perform live, whereas nowadays there are other options. For example, you can record something in a home studio and then mime it onto a camera and do that 20 times to find the best angle and then put that out as if it's live. Now, it doesn't have the same feel, but it's definitely a good option. I still feel like the 2 biggest aspects are the music and the story. The music and what you stand for. These are still the 2 biggest things that you need to get across. And the amount of times I go on social media and I'm just looking for some music, or I'm looking for the story, what I get is adverts. But what I want is you. Whether that's performing, whether that's your music, whether it's a music video, I don't mind, but I want you and your story and your music. What about another option? What about an alter ego? If you look at Daft Punk, those robots came out of them feeling a bit uncomfortable and too shy to get on stage, and then 2 robots were born. Look at Wes Borland from Limp Bizkit. I mean, he's a different character every time he takes to the stage. If you look at Blue Man Group or even Slipknot, Slipknot is another example of feeling a bit uncomfortable about what they look like, and they wanted it to be all about the music, hence a bit of shyness, and therefore Slipknot was invented. You can also look at producer DJs like deadmau5 or even Marshmello. These guys have forged a brand around not being themselves, in making something interesting and creating a whole new story which they've thread through their entire social media. For me, this is the perfect time to be able to build an audience and monetize it without having to perform. But make no bones about it, this is still a problem that needs a solution. You can't just take that away and add nothing else in. This is very similar to losing one of your senses. If you lose your sight, then the rest of your senses have to come up to make up for the fact that you have lost your sight. And lastly, and most importantly, something I've said probably 20 or 30 times to bands and artists and business people this week, everyone is trying to overcomplicate their content. And as an artist, as a creator, you've got so many things that you can do to make content and get it out there. If you are an artist, you can perform, but if you can't perform, you can vlog. If you can't vlog, you can tell your story. People are trying to come up with different reasons why they shouldn't make content instead of just making great content and getting it out. If you can't make a performance video, then there's 10 other ideas that you can have. And focusing on what you can't do instead of focusing on what you can do, and just keep churning it out for consistency to tell your story and to reach your audience is much, much more important on focusing on whether you can and can't perform. But what do you think? Do you think that if you can't perform, then that doesn't make you a real artist? Do you think that it doesn't make you credible? Or do you feel that there are so many aspects to being an artist, including talent, including consistency, including a great song and a great story, that performance is just one aspect, and without it, there are plenty of other things that you can add in to make you successful and touch people's lives? What do you think? I want you to let me know down below. But thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
One more time to know. One more time